digest. From lane to the new shining ground, echo chants where the legends are found. Heroes carved in the heart of time, we march on through grit and grime. Oh Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. Oh Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. Echoes of King and Greaves in the air. Every goal, the sound declares. Heartbeats pound like a drummer's song, marching forward, fierce and strong. We're the ones who rise in the clash. Numbers running in a white shirt dash. History burns in the roaring crowd. Every game we scream it loud. I'm Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire.
Dave nearly went rogue there. Nearly let you go rogue on the channel. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching this podcast, and welcome to Irish Lads Talk Spurs Christmas special, the last one before the end of the year. We will be back with this podcast in January 2026. Imagine saying that, Dave. 2026. Where's the year gone?
Oh,
But of course,
mad.
joining me all these podcasts is the man from Kildare, the second best county in Ireland. And I will argue that to the cows come home. It is the one and only Dave, the Irish Hotspur. How are you, Dave, today?
Yeah, no, a bit of a weird mood, to be honest with you. Pissed off with Tottenham, but looking forward to Christmas.
Yeah, it is a weird one. It's a lot happening. Paratici, one we're going to get into. I've got a list of players just dropped in my WhatsApp box this morning who we could be going after in January. So we will sort of touch on that, a few of them, not all of them, because they will be going out as a pre-record on St. Stephen's Day for you guys. Something to watch while we wait for Spurs to come back. But Dave, let's just welcome Sue's in the chat. And then we'll start off with the Liverpool game, if that's okay with you, Bod. And we will work on from there. Big up to Rhino. Big up Ryan. He says, big up Dermo and Davo. Have a Merry Christmas, everyone in the chat. Merry Christmas to one and all, Davo. I know we've had not agreed on anything this year. Agreed on anything this year, but much love, bro. Look, big up to you as well, Rhino. Happy Christmas to you and your family as well. Dave, look.
Yeah, just quickly, big up. Oh, sorry, just quickly, big up as well, Rhino. Look, I have no problem with people that don't disagree with me or that don't agree with me at the end of the day. You know what I mean? It's all love. We all want what's best for our football club. We all see, we at the end of the day, we all see a different part on how we become successful, right? I'm never going to fall out with you if you have a difference of opinion, my man.
Yeah, at least he sticks to his principles. At least he sticks, he does die in that hill, and you've got to admire that. You've got to respect that.
No, I like Rhino. I think Rhino's a good character.
Yeah, it is. He is. I think when you're feeling a bit down and in the gloom about Spurs and he comes on, he does cheer you up a bit. He does give you a bit of a chuckle. So big up to you, Rhino. Hope you're doing well. Look, Dave, let's start on Saturday. There's a lot to pick out of that. Look, firstly, it was a good performance, I thought. I thought if you're looking for any positives, the performances were there. But the worrying sign said, why did they not do that against Nottingham Forest? Why is it Liverpool that suddenly just pick up their game for? Overall, what you thought of the game? Overall, what was your thoughts coming out of it?
Look, yeah, ultimately, I thought for the first, up until what, Xavi Simons sending off, which I think was in around 30 minutes, if I remember correctly, thought we were the better team. I thought we were on top. I thought the tactics worked well. What we done is we sort of pressed them very high up in the midfield, which meant then they couldn't play through the midfield like they wanted to. And they were struggling in terms of that long ball over the top that they were trying to find and stuff. And it was working really well. But I remember saying at a point during the watch along, while we're on top of this game, we need to score. We need to take our rewards. And we didn't do that. But you'd argue this is something that's happened for a number of years at Tottenham Hotspur now, since we've sold Harry Kane and now even that son's gone. When we're on top of games, we failed to capitalize on it. And then look, I think the sending off sort of changed the game to a large degree, Dharma. Personally, I don't think it is a sending off. People tackle each other in football. It's always been the way. And yes, sometimes you get hurt, but not everything is a red card. I think the referee's on-field decision was actually the correct one in terms of the yellow card. And for me, it's not like Xavi went in there with any intent to hurt, Van Dijk. He sort of mistimed the tackle, but as he went to tackle, his standing leg also slipped a little bit, which sort of maybe made it look a little bit worse than what it was. And I think it was a harsh red card. Don't get me wrong. I know we got one, was it last year or the year before against Curtis Jones, who got sent off against us and it changed the game, but I didn't think that was a red that day either. It's sort of like, and I think once again, VAR is flagging itself. It almost seems like it's flagging itself far too often now at this point. It's getting to the point where it's just absolutely ruining games of football, and it changed the outcome of that game. But saying that, I thought we done pretty well, for the remainder of that half. Now, towards the end of the half, I know we started sort of sitting in maybe, but at that stage, you just sort of want to get the team in 0-0, and get some messages across to maybe a new plan moving forward down to 10 men. And then coming out at half time, Dermo, I thought, again, I was pretty happy with what I was seeing. We didn't sit right off them. We tried to engage them, take the ball and go on the break, which I thought was necessary. But where I got a little bit let down was when we were breaking, players that started slowing it down or passing the ball backwards. And I remember saying back during the watch along, I remember it was after Kudos done it the first time. I was fuming with him. I was like, Jack, we keep doing this. We're going to play ourselves in trouble. We're going to get caught and we're going to end up conceding. And the first goal was so avoidable on so many levels. It really, Dermo. Like, Bergvall has the ball. He's running forward. And this is something I am sick of seeing some Tottenham players do. Rather than make that, running behind and provide an option for someone like Lucas Bergvall, Mo Kudus refuses, stands there and wants the ball to feet. Now, I'd also argue if Mo Kudus learned to run in behind more, he'd actually probably get a few more goals rather than wanting always the ball. And then what he does is then he plays backwards, plays it to Romero. Romero plays a sloppy pass. What's frustrating about that is you can see he's trying to play Mawani over the top. We've seen him do that 1,000 times here at Tottenham. But then it was just a really, really sort of shit, lazy sort of ball. It happens. And then they end up scoring off the back of it, which was a little bit disappointed. But interestingly, I remember flagging Kudos' part in that. And I remember going, man, and interestingly, he took him straight off for Brennan Johnson for a guy that is out the door, by all reports, if they're to be believed, which I thought was strange. It maybe shows maybe he's very unhappy with Kudos. And then look, the second goal happens. I would argue, I think that's a free out. I know some people may say a little bit soft, but there's two hands on the back. If you go back to when Jed Spence was in their box, went to cut in and shoot and put a little bit of pressure on Conor Bradley and the referee gives a free the other way, then that's also a free out. If we've also got goals disallowed for the same thing, then, why are we not getting the rub of the green when it's also happening against us, which is another real frustration. And then, look, we tried to get back in the game. Richarlison scores. Love the way he went to gyrate Hugo Ekitike, by the way. I know there's been a lot made out of it, and that the guy hates Liverpool. That's why I argued maybe he should have actually started from the very beginning, because he scores against them. And then just as you think we're getting back into the game, you're like, hold on, we get another attack. We could take 2-2 here, no problem. Liverpool are starting to crumble. The mentality's gone. Their ass is falling out. Romero, ends up being pushed up front, goes and wins that free kick. And then he just lashes out. And it's just, I just don't understand it, Darmo. He's let everybody down. He's let Frank down. He's let his teammates down. And most importantly, he's let all the fans down. It was absolutely stupid taking a second yellow for that. You have won your free kick. What are you doing? And then after that, you know what? Fair credit to the boys, Darmo, down to 9 men, and they keep plugging away, still trying to fashion a chance or two, nearly snatched something right at the end. And ultimately, unlucky on the day. A much better performance and commitment than what we've seen against Nottingham Forest the week before.
Yeah, I mean, you summed it up perfectly. The game on Sunday. Look, I would take a couple of things out of it. I think that the second goal, look, it should have been disallowed, but I think harshly it wasn't. I think they're given or not given. It's very, I think referees have to be more consistent, Dave, when it comes to these decisions.
That's the frustration with VAR, isn't it, Darmo?
Yeah, it's no consistency with it. I think the sending off, I agree with you. I think the referee's first decision was the right decision. Yellow card, give him a stern warning. Tell him if you do that again, you're off. Yeah. And I think Romero, I think you're right, Romero, he let everyone down. We had so much momentum building, didn't we, in that period? We got the goal back, and you could see the momentum building and building. You saw Liverpool rocking. And as soon as he done that, but I think also, Dave, if I'm going to be fair on Romero, I think he was sort of hoodwinked into doing it as well.
Oh, you could see the frustration was boiling over from the inconsistency in decisions. Like, to be fair, it felt like the referee gave them the majority of decisions all game long. He was giving them things maybe he wasn't giving us. For instance, Jed Spence went on the overlap of a player, gets pulled out, nothing given. And referee's just like, get up. I'm not being funny. I've been there as a player. It's very, very easy to lose your head. And it happens. Everyone's done it every once in a while. But at the end of the day, as your club captain, that's where you need the cool head the most to sort of say, right, everyone's against us. Let's knuckle down. And how we answer back and how we get one over is by going and getting the equalizer and taking a point despite playing against 11 men plus the referee plus the VAR room. Yeah. And he lost it, so I can't defend that.
I do feel that. I do feel, and I'm being honest with this, I do feel it has to be investigated, that game, in some way or forms by the decisions of the referee. No, I'm not joking, Dave. I think there has to be some sort of investigation into VAR, into referees, because you look at other games that referees are very sort of, they're going to go one side or the other. Now, how do we know either this referee wasn't a Liverpool fan deep down? We don't know who they support. And we've had it before.
In fact, Darmo, actually, I've listened to referees, that were are not too long out of the game. And they're actually told when they're signing down the teams, of who they support.
Yeah.
Just put down a team in like League One or something like that. You go and look at a lot of referees that have lower league teams down, and it's not really the team they support. Some of them, they do support teams in the Premier League. And it's just madness.
And of course, at the end of the day, it is a defeat, Dave, rightly or wrongly. It's a defeat. More pressure on Thomas Frank.
Yeah.
More pressure on him from the fans. More pressure from the board as well. And I think the board have been a joke as well. We've got January coming up. Look, what we're missing, missing Savvy for the whole Christmas period. We're missing Romero.
3 games. Romero's out for 1, and he's out for Palace, I think, Darbo.
Yeah, he is. And we've got Palace away. It's not an easy game, Dave. It's not going to be an easy game on St. Stephen's Day. Boxing Day for you guys in England. Firstly, with no games on St. Stephen's Day or Boxing Day, Dave. It's the first time I can remember.
Well, United around.
Pardon?
United around Boxing Day.
Yeah, but it's the only game. I can't remember in all my years no games on St. Stephen's Day or Boxing Day.
No darts either.
No darts, no nothing.
What's going on?
This is all. Pardon?
What's going on? They're ruining things. They're ruining Stevens' Day, lad. That's what it's all about. Sitting back on the couch.
I know it's all down to TV coverage, isn't it? It's all down to the TV companies. You will, and the Premier League, you will go on when we tell you to go on. I mean, there's no darts. What's the problem with putting darts on St. Stephen's Day? Shoot. What's the problem with it? I mean, come on. I watched a bit of it last night, Dave, for a little bit, actually. I watched a bit of Luke Littler. I tell you one thing. I did hear Tottenham get battered everywhere they go. Every time
you hear that every time,
yeah.
Without fail.
Without fail. And I only put it on just to see what was happening. All I hear first thing was Tottenham get battered everywhere they go. I said, really? Seriously?
I know.
Can you not pick another team?
Honestly, though, just quickly, the lack of sports on Boxing or on Stephen's Day this year is absolutely criminal. Like, to have one game on I don't understand it. You know, you're sort of taking away that festive, and that's what it is, Darbo. It's the start of taking away the festive fixture list.
Yeah,
You know,
it is.
that we love so much. That's what I feel like that's the start of. And then no darts as well is even more criminal as well. I mean, like Stephen's Day is all about sitting down, eating turkey, ham, and sausage meat stuff in sandbows while watching the sports.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna have to go on a walk. It's criminal.
Yeah. But at least we get an extra day off, Dave, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't mind that, I suppose.
No, we get an extra day off, which isn't bad. But you think after Christmas as well, from the 1st of January, Dave, from the 1st to the 10th, we got a game every 2 days. I mean, that is mind-boggling. Every 2 days we've got a game. We've got League, FA Cup, League. I think the FA Cup's the one on the 10th. That's the last
every
one
3
of
days,
that
Darmo.
period.
Every 3 days.
Every 3 days. That's shocking, though. So
We'd have to make up for the lack of Boxing Day fixtures, don't
I
they?
know. But that doesn't make it easy for us, Dave, because we do watch along. Then we have to quickly turn around, do all the build up for the next game. Do that watch along quickly. You know, they're really putting us through it. The gits.
1, 2,
Big up
3,
column
4,
as well.
5,
Merry
6.
Christmas to you and the family column. It says because they
8.
have to put who the support.
No, yeah, they have to, but like,
Yeah,
you know, I've heard
honest.
like, you know, referees not too long out of the game saying that they're being told pick a lower league team so that when you get to the Premier League, you're going to get games.
Yeah, right.
You can't tell me all referees support lower league teams. It's just humanly impossible.
It is. Big up David Clark. If that Simmons challenge was a yellow card, I'm a Dutchman. And Romero got goaded into that. Sorry, Romero isn't the only one losing their minds. This referee is the worst in the Premier League. I would totally agree with that. Big up to Jimmy Hotspur. Big up, guys in chat. Good afternoon. Big up to you. He also says one Boxing Day game is a joke. What's happened to our traditional slowly being eroded away? Yeah. Disgraceful. Do you think why is it? Is it TV companies now eroding it away?
No, I don't think it is. Look, at the end of the day, I think, you know, there's been a massive talk in the Premier League, hasn't there, about sort of taking that winter break, like the sort of rest of Europe does and stuff like that. And when they maybe brought it up, there was uproar amongst fans, you know, that they weren't having it, this, that, and the other. And you know, when you look at it, they put one game on to sort of say, oh, well, there's your tradition. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, I do agree with Jamie. I do think it's a sort of long drawn out process of withdrawing sort of Boxing Day fixtures, sort of point then they will bring it to a Premier League break.
I don't agree with it, but look, it is what it is. Big up to Mash and Joe. I like that, Mash and Joe. Big up to you, Mash and Joe. Everton should have got a penalty yesterday against Woolwich. Yeah, they should have done. Simmons tackled his national team captain with studs up like that, laughing emoji. Yes, and Stephen's Day, Mr. Dave, the first saint. It's my name day party every year. There you go.
Name day. That's a common thing across Europe, actually. Where they have their birthdays, and then they also have their thing called name day, which is sort of celebrated like a birthday.
You know, should we get one? Do you go back years if you get your name day? Like, you're allowed to go back a few years?
I always slag my mother and my father. You know, every time National Children's Day come around, I'm like, okay, well, where's my presents? And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, conveniently, you don't celebrate that one. Every Mother's and Father's Day, have to go out and buy stuff and give you presents. But National Children's Day, conveniently, we don't celebrate. What's going on here? You know,
I never heard of it, but I'll look out for that next year. Big up to Colin. He says, then that goes down as a criminal charge if they get found out to have falsified an official document. I have to see what happens.
Well, former referees haven't been charged.
No. Incompetent isn't biased. I never said you're incompetent, Dave, but there you go.
I haven't even mentioned Frank yet. I haven't even mentioned Frank yet.
I know. Dave, Frank is a good manager. We'll win a trophy under him. Just give him time. Firstly, what trophy, Rhino? I admire your dedication to Thomas Frank. Like me and Dave were dedicated to Ange Postecoglou, but he did win us the second biggest European trophy you can win in Europe. Did bring us a European trophy back to White Hart Lane. Never know. Thomas Frank can go and win the FA Cup. Who knows?
Look, all I'll say is, Rhino, is I get there's a portion that believe in Frank and believe, you know, giving time and that. And That's fine. That's within your right. I'm just of the opinion right now. He's got a lot to prove to me. And look, to be fair to the guy, Rhino, he's still got time to sort of turn it around. I'd argue the more we lose games and the more we're losing grips on sort of European places, I think the closer he is to the exit door. Don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, he's still got time to go on a little run. It's still salvageable. So let's see what he does over the next few games. I think they're absolutely huge. Palace, Brentford, Sunderland. I think they're huge for Thomas Frank.
Yeah. I think what he's got to do this season is at least get us into the Conference League, Dave. I think get us into that. If he can get us into that, I think that would be a good season for us, to be fair. I don't think anything less.
The reality is, though, the thing is, if you look around, YouTube in the summer and you look around socials, many people lowered their expectations this season. And it wasn't because they had their problems with Frank at the time. There wasn't. There was a huge fanfare to get Thomas Frank in here. Where people sort of lowered their expectations was just off the base of last season. And, the fact that we're sort of falling below them, it's different expectations we placed this season compared to years gone by under other managers. Top 4 in a trophy. Most people lowered it and said they'd rather, if we could take a Europa Conference League spot over a UEFA League spot, we'll take that. It's sort of mild progression, if you'd like. And the fact that we're falling below that is just an indictment that it's not working right now.
Yeah, it's not working right because I don't think he's got the players there, and I don't think he was properly backed in the summer either, Dave, for being brutally honest. We really weren't. Big up to the Motor Challenge. He said, lose our next 4 games. We're in a relegation dogfight. Trophies must be joking. Rhino does come back and says, we will win the FA Cup and the Champions League. Rhino, wherever you're drinking, I love some of that. There's no way we're going to win the Champions League. We haven't got a hope in hell of winning the Champions League. FA Cup, you never know. If you get the right draws and you get the right run to the final and the big boys knock each other out, who knows? It could be our year. But winning the Champions League, I admire your confidence. That's all I'm going to say. I
think Rhino's already started his Christmas.
I think Rhino has started his Christmas, but big up to you, Rhino. David said, Frank may not be the man to take our club forward, but one thing is certain, 70% of these players ain't the ones. David, 100%. Absolute 100% that. Ashton Joe said, Spurs would have won with 11 men. Liverpool are rubbish. Look, I'm going to sort of have a slight disagreement with this comment. Liverpool are not rubbish. Liverpool are league champions, and they're sitting up in 5th place at the moment. Liverpool did not play well on Saturday, and they were there for the taking, yes. But in general, Dave, if you look at the group of players they've got, if you look at the players at Liverpool are not rubbish. Liverpool will be thereabouts by the end of the season. I think they were rubbish Saturday, but you can't. I was getting chats in Saturday night in match reactions. Oh, Liverpool are crap. Liverpool this. Liverpool not crap. They're league champions for a reason. What's it? Their second league championship in 4 years? Something like that. They've won a lot more trophies than we have, Dave, over the last sort of 10 years. So I get it, what people are saying, but they're not rubbish. In my view, I think Liverpool are still there for a Champions League spot, in my opinion. Better
to be honest, what I'm looking at, like my takeaway from what I'm looking at Liverpool, I think it's clear that there's something not right there. I think there's, to be honest with you, I think a lot of this sort of old Klopp era maybe aren't feeling Arne Slot. Mo Salah, made it very clear that he wasn't sort of on board with the messaging and stuff like that. And, I reckon there's a lot of other players like that as well, and with what you see with Arne Slot is he is slowly starting to sort of wean out the club players that maybe have carried that football club for a long time. Trent Alexander-Arnold's gone. Robertson is not even starting games anymore. Mo Salah's been dropped to the bench. Virgil van Dijk is a far cry of how good he used to be. He looks vulnerable now compared to, the stalwart that he's looked. And I think what you're seeing is a lot of the Klopp era players not having this guy.
Yeah, I think so as well. I look at Liverpool and you look at the Mo Salah debacle that's happening there, Dave, and you think about it. I don't think Slot's the right man. I was speaking to a Liverpool fan on Saturday on the way back from Gory, and he absolutely wants Slot out. He said he's not the manager to take us forward. He's not. he's not this man. And he says he's a con man, he's a fraud because he's been riding on Klopp's success. So I get it. I get a lot of Liverpool fans ain't happy with them. Just go through a few more chats and then we will crack on with some of the news, Dave. What happens if we lose to Palace and Brentford, guys? I think he's gone. I think go on, Dave. No, go on.
It'd be interesting. Oh, sorry, yeah. God, Darryl. To me, to you. Yeah. I'll shut up for a minute. Go on.
Yeah. Look, I think if we do lose them, Dave, I think then he's in the no. Aston Villa then becomes El Sacchio for him. If we go out the FA Cup then and we lose them 2 games, go out of the FA Cup, I think he's gone. Then what's the point then? We've got nothing to play for the season then. It's just a case of either getting our way out of a relegation fight or getting ourselves in the mid-table. I think these next 2 games for him are vital to keep his job. Next 3 games are vital to keep his job, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Like, if you look at it, like coming into the weekend, we were 4 points off top 4, 4 points off 16th, 17th. Now you look at it, I think we're 7, 8 points now off top 4. Starting to lose that very, very quickly. And you look at Brentford, they're in around us. Crystal Palace are still sort of flying high up in 18 around the European spots, who are 4 points ahead of us. Palace beat us, that's 7 points then, just to try and get 8th place. All of a sudden, Europe is looking very unlikely all of a sudden. I think, so if you don't win them 2 games, I think the writing's on the wall. But what I will say is it will be interesting. This is what I'm waiting to see from the Lewis family. They came out after the Forest game and said they're backing him. They're going to give this guy time. But if we don't win them 2 games, it'd be interesting to see how much weight that statement actually carries. Do they double down and sort of follow through with the words, or do they sack him?
I mean, we are now, we've got 22 points now in 13th. And Man United are on 26 points with Palace. That's just to get into the Europa League place, Conference League, right? Then Sunderland are in the Europa League on 27 points. So is Liverpool. And they're on 29. So they're in the same points as Chelsea. And then, of course, Villa on 36, Man City on 37, and Arsenal on 39. I tell you one thing, it is so tight. And when you look down to the bottom, you've got Bournemouth. Bournemouth could go, but are Bournemouth playing tonight? I think they are, aren't they? Playing tonight.
Let me check.
Somehow, I think they're playing Nottingham Forest tonight.
Yeah,
No.
Who
are Forest playing tonight then?
Let me check.
Oh, they're playing Fulham. That's Fulham. It. They're Fulham away. So, say if Fulham win, they go above us. So we drop down to 14th. And then you've got Leeds at 19th.
Even if Forest win, they're 1 point behind us.
Yeah. And then West Ham are on 13. Look, I think the bottom 3, I think Wolves are down already. No way Wolves are going to escape
we won't get relegated.
No. We're not going to be, but we're in the same place as we were last season. And they sacked Ange for that, and he won us a trophy. So, where do you know what I mean? I still say it, as much as everyone hated Ange, would it have been more sensible to start with him and see how the season would have started and then get rid of him if things went tits up? I think changing it completely, I think it's went against them. I think it's went against them because of the players. The players, and look, to be fair, Dave, I'm trying to put this in the way what's in my head, but the players loved Ange, right? They would die for Ange. There isn't that same passion for Thomas Frank. They're not going to run through a brick wall for Thomas Frank. And I just wondered, with all the momentum we built with winning in Bilbao, with Ange there, I wondered, did they make a mistake in sacking Ange? Did they kill that momentum there and then? When they sacked him, that was it. The momentum had gone.
I don't think so, Dermo. I think the right decision was made, in hindsight. When you look around at it, the fans were never really going to give Postecoglou a chance going into the following season. He rubbed up a lot of fans the wrong way. Never really set out to sort of corral the fans or bring them on his side and stuff like that. And I think ultimately, it got to the point, no matter what, every time the guy spoke, it was met with venom. It was met with, rage, and stuff like that. And I think that ultimately the club made the right decision to get him gone. I think, us winning the Europa League and sort of changing when he said, I'm never going to change, was sort of, I think, more so for himself rather than Tottenham Hotspur, if you know what I mean, in terms of, well, in order to salvage my reputation here, I got to win it this way, or I got to win and I'm going to have to play this way so that I will get jobs off the back of this. Because if he didn't win that Europa League, he would not have got another Premier. He wouldn't even got that job at Nottingham Forest. He wouldn't be considered for other future jobs in the future. So I think the right decision was made. However, in the summer, I sort of said, well, why are we settling for Thomas Frank when the whole footballing world is open to us in terms of managers and stuff like that? And I think that's where we went wrong. We just didn't replace him with a manager that knows how to manage a club the size of Tottenham, with the pressures, with the demands, the expectations and stuff like that. And since we brought in Frank, I think he lost some of that dressing room from day one. You got to remember, these players have egos, right? You've got Romero, World Cup winner, 2-time Copa America winner, and now a Europa League winner there, and stuff like that. And when Thomas Frank walks in and says, I guarantee you, I 100% guarantee you we will lose games this season, you're going to lose some of them players straight away because some of them are only thinking about trophies. Then when you double down and you sort of say, I only expect 10 good games, a season, well, then why is he coming out moaning when we're losing some of these games if he only expects 10 good games this season? And I just think a lot of the rhetoric that he uses, it doesn't inspire the team, in my opinion. I think that's quite clear and evident to see on the pitch. He's lost a lot of fans. And let's be honest, a lot of fans were behind this guy when he initially came in. Nearly, I would argue, 99% of the fan base were happy with this appointment. So it's not like he was judged unfairly or unharshly from the very beginning. He wasn't. A lot of people were willing to give this guy time and everything else. And I just think, the fact that he's lost the fan base over time by coming out and blaming the fans and trying to separate the fans with some of his language and stuff like that. Ultimately, I think he's just made a complete big mess of it. I think the job is way too big for him. And I think we do need someone that has a history of managing sort of, clubs at this level, because we are a Big Six club in an absolute mess, and you need someone with the experience to come in and really sort it out.
You do. And we are in a mess. We're absolutely in a mess. And look, I think it comes on from last season with Ange being in charge, where we lost 22 league games. But I just feel that winning the trophy should have guaranteed you at 6 months at least in the job. Winning that trophy, I think you won us a major trophy. They gave Ramos time, and Ramos was a shit manager. He won us a trophy. He got the following year. Yes, he was sacked very early into the next
But he also
season.
saw Keenan Berbatov at him in the summer, to be fair.
Yeah, he did. And I get everyone doesn't like Ange. I get Ange gets a lot of hate within the fan base. I know. Big up to Rhino. Rhino says, like, no, Dermo, we would have gone down with Ange. We don't know that. And just because you're a manager of you're backing Thomas Frank, your man, and you're backing them all the way, I think everyone else is entitled to an opinion. I think everybody else is entitled to that thing. Look, in the league, he deserved to go. No doubt about that. 22 league defeats, any manager would have got the sack. I agree. But winning us a trophy, I think that was the major thing. And I think he should have been given time. But the board wants to make a change.
Yeah, the thing is with this, though, Dermo, is, look, I'm not going to get stuck into an Ange v. Frank debate. At the end of the day, I don't think neither are and both have proven not to be good enough to really take this club forward long term, or really to come in and sort the mess out. And when you look how far we've fallen under these two managers compared to other managers we've brought in, the likes of Conte, the likes of Jose, who were sacked in 4th and 7th, by the way, that was deemed not good enough not so long ago. I think speaks to the caliber of the last two sort of managers that we've brought in, that neither are just good enough. But where I think Ryan needs to factor in the league thing under Ange is they deprioritize the league for the sake of Europe. If they deprioritize Europe, and sort of concentrate on the league, we probably wouldn't have finished anywhere near 17th. Yeah, so I don't take the argument we would have got relegated. I don't think we would have.
No, I don't think we're. I look, and Mash and Joe says normal service resumed against the last home game of the season. Well, the players were still pissed drunk. I think, from the previous 3 days. So
And they
I
fucking
think,
pissed me off watching that day as well. Oh my
yeah,
God.
they did. They were woeful that day. All I remember, I had to leave that game early to go and pick up the young lad from the hospital, and all I was listening to, what was this? The Virgin Media on the radio, and we're going back to Tottenham's ground. Brighton have scored another goal. I said, thank God I've left that watch along early. But yeah, I think if you had a breathalyzer for each player going onto the pitch, Dave, they would have
Yeah.
all went over it. They would have. They were
Yeah.
still pissed from the party night. Big up to Central Bass Delete. Good morning, or good morning to you. Well, morning for me. Well, where are you from, lad? Let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're watching us from. I would love to know that. Big up to Mike E. Esquire, very Del Boy look. But I think it's Del Boy, is it? I don't know if it is or not. The players should go through the walls for the fans. Not, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
There was play. You look. I said it the other day, Dave. You look at the shit teams of the '90s, right? Under Ozzy Ardiles, or under Jerry Francis, or under Ramas, or under Christian Gross, and managers like that in the '90s, right? George Graham. Them players ran through a brick wall for us, the fans. And I just feel players today don't give a shit about that. Players all care
I
about is
agree.
their paycheck and their money and how much money they can get out of a new deal. They don't care about the club, the fans, or anything. I think very few players do. I think Sonny cared about the fans. He was one. Harry Kane, yeah, sort of. Yes, I would say I would put him into that bracket. Ledley King, definitely. Um, Robbie Keane, 100%. Berbatov, 100%, I think. I think could put him into that bracket.
I,
Then you have to
I,
go back. Yeah, go on.
I was going to say, I agree with you on this one, Dharma. I think for me, like, when you look at it, and this is even something that I've sort of just picked up through like listening to pundits and stuff.
Mm.
It's more the old school players that are doing
Yeah.
punditry now, that would have played in my year and stuff, that are sitting there going, how can you come out and disrespect even Paul Merson the other day, and I hate that guy. But even he gets it, he's sitting there going, how can you come out and disrespect the fans, the one that, pay here to be every week, this, that, and the other, and spend their hard-earned money. They get it. There's sort of an understanding there. With a lot of these new guys, there's none. And I think that's twofold. I think one, because the amount of club hopping nowadays, there's no loyalty from one player to a club anymore. There used to be a lot more loyalty for a player to a club. But also, the income that we pay them, it's not their only income now. You know what I mean? They have their own sponsors and modeling and, all this other sort of jazz going on. It's not their only income now. There's that much money being made out of football now, that they don't really need to show that loyalty to a club anymore. And it's sad, really. And that's why, we constantly get abused by, well, not abused, but we constantly get told we're the problem by, the managers now and by the players. And I'm sitting there scratching my head. And I'm like, well, hang on. When did this start becoming a thing? Because, if that happened before, they'd just be bounced out of the football club. It would never, ever, ever be accepted or tolerated. How dare you go after our fan base, the ones that love this club, the ones that are the lifeblood of this club, the ones that sink their money into this football club, that hard-earned money. They're not on the wages you are, where you're on your 60, 70, 80, 100 grand a week. Some of these guys are only pulling out 300-400 quid a week. I'm working more hours than you. I'm doing more manual labor jobs than you and stuff like that. And you have the cheek to have a fucking pop at these guys. But nowadays, it just seems absolutely acceptable. And that's why, everything around Tottenham is rotten to the core right now, until the owners start making a stand with the managers and the players and saying, look, you're not going to have a pop at the fan base. Then there's never going to be a connection there, ever.
No, look, for me, I think the connection between the players and the fans went a long time ago, Dave. I think it went a long time ago. I think the last time we were connected with the players was under that last season at White Hart Lane on the Potch, when we went undefeated for the whole season. I think that's the last time we were connected properly as a club. Since then, it's just fell apart. You look at Jose coming in, Jose Mourinho, I and Conte, and then him having his rant. And going back to the Conte rant, Dave, how right was he about the club back then? And the club's still like this now. You go from the top. I'm a good believer, Dave, and maybe I know you're joking me going back to the Second World War and going back to Yoda, but I think you have to go back to you ask your dad back to the 70s and 80s, where if a manager wanted a player, he would go and see the chairman. So there was one connect line. There was no such thing as director of footballs or director of sport or director of medicine. Yes, I get it. When Wenger came in, he brought in new ways of player fitness, and that's all good. That benefits the football club. That benefits the players. That benefits us as fans. Great. Where I think it's gone a bit fucking over my head is you got to have a director of football for transfers, or you got to have a sporting director for the youth academy, or you got to have this person looking after the medical unit. Surely to God, years ago, one person run that bit of the football club. The manager run the
Football clubs are different animals now, though, Dermo. It's
I get
impossible for
that.
like one or two
I get
people to
that.
control
But
everything
I
now.
get that. But when it came to buying players, the manager knew what he wanted. He wanted to see the chairman. The chairman spoke to the other chairman. Job done. Now you've got agents involved wanting their cut out the deal. You've got players now thinking, I'm not playing for this football club. I want to leave, thinking they have more power than what the football club do. You've got agents speaking into the rear. Well, look, if you kick a bit of a fuss here, I can get you moved to, say, Newcastle, right? But I can definitely get you moved to Man United. Just kick up a bit of fuss. Do you know, that wasn't like that years ago, Dave. And it wasn't like that in the 90s. And it wasn't like that in the early 2000s. Football, for me, has become too commercialized, become too business-like. It's not a sport anymore. Football is supposed to be a sport, the people's game. That's what it's supposed to be, the people's sport. And it's not the people's sport anymore. That is why when you go to a football match now, you will see more corporate people going to games than fans of the likes of you and me. You see, there's very, very few normal football fans because we can't afford to go. It's too expensive to go. Season tickets cost over £1,000 a game. If you and me wanted to go to a game of Tottenham and we live in Ireland, right? It would cost us what, 70, 60 euro for a ticket, right?
No.
58,
I was speaking to a guy that traveled from Ireland for the Liverpool game. It was
yeah,
€110 for his ticket.
right, €110 for the ticket, plus the train, plus the flight. You're looking over €100 for the flight there and back, right? You're looking at if you're going to stay
£50,
over.
£50 for the
Yeah,
train return.
yeah, 50 quid for the train. So you're looking at nearly €400, €300 to start off with, plus your drinking money, plus getting something to eat over there, plus getting to the ground and however you're going to get there. You're looking at nearly 450, 500 quid on one day.
Mm.
And I just feel the price and the normal fan out of the game, the price and the normal people, the footballing people out of the game. And before too long, mark my words, and I'm saying this now, mark my words, in 10 years' time, Dave, in 10 years or 15 years' time, the likes of you and me, we won't even be able to afford to go to a game because everything is going to get too expensive and they'll be left to the corporate people. And then you'll lose the atmospheres. You will lose the identity of these football clubs and they'll be all corporate. They're pushing the normal man and woman and child that go to these games out of the game because it's getting far too expensive.
Yeah, look, it's not just the football clubs, exacting that, getting their own greed. It's the price of everything nowadays. You know what I mean? Even to the price of going and buying a sausage, it's probably €2-3 more expensive than what it was 3-4 years ago. You know what I mean? The price of everything has gone through the roof. And when, your weekly shopping's gone up, all your bills have gone up, through no fault of anybody's own, by the way.
No.
I actually see a lot of people getting less in their shop now than what they used to get. And they're still more expensive and stuff. The price of your petrol is going up, insurance is going up for your car, absolutely everything. It's leaving people with no more money to be able to go to the game on the weekend. Before, you had a lot of fans that sort of said, right, I have 100 quid left in my arse pocket. Right, I'll head to the game and I'll use that to go to the game. But people don't have that anymore. You know what I mean? And I do think it'd be wise for football clubs to look at the current economic climate, look at the stadiums that are not being sold out, and reduce the prices to get fans through the door.
Yeah, I agree. It's just beyond. It's beyond. Right, we've got so many people in the chat. I'm going to pick a few out and just work on them. We will get on. I'm going to try to keep this on to an hour, Dave, if we can.
Yeah.
Big up to Ed Fan 01. Merry Christmas, and Spurs
Merry
fan
Christmas.
from Hamburg, Germany. Big up to you, Ed. Hope you do a Merry Christmas to you. Big up to Bing Guy as well. Some fans keep talking shite about Ange got 17, blah, blah, blah. But winning the European got you lots the effing Champions League. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Well said, dead from Rodney Martin. And big
Thank
up
you,
to
Rodney.
Rhino Dermo. He did not win us a trophy. Oh, for fuck's sake. Rhino. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Rhino, he was the manager. When it goes down on the history books, winning manager, Ange Postecoglou Europa League. Okay. I know you didn't like him, but give the man a little bit of credit. It's Christmas. Be kind.
Look, also at the end of the day, he kept the players on board all the way to the Europa League. You listen to Mickey Van de Ven's interview, you know, they really listened to him. They really did like him. You know, and also when you look at the players going to the fans, like Matisse Tel, for instance, going to the fans and trying to speak to them on Postecoglou's behalf. You don't see that with these players doing that for Thomas Frank. You know what I mean? And to that point, that's, the fact that they stuck together right to the end is the reason why we got over the line at the end of the day.
I know, Rhino, you don't like him, but give the man some credit, please. Even Tequila, who doesn't like him, at least he said, well, he won us a trophy. At least, and Tequila's very much still on the same stance, has not got off that train. And I admire him for sticking to how he sees it, and fair play to him.
But look, at the end of the day, Postecoglou done it himself. Postecoglou done it himself. He alienated fans. He didn't bring them on the journey. You know what I mean? So anyone that doesn't like him is well entitled to, if that,
Yeah, of course they are. But a bit like Thomas Frank, quickly becoming another idiot that likes going against the fans. Mash and Joe don't like Postecoglou, not because of Spurs, because he played our arch enemy rival in Australia, like your Arsenal. Fair. I don't like Postecoglou. That's fair. That's dedication. That really is dedication. Big up to you. I think the main thing, whoever the manager is, we need better squad depth. Yeah, me and Tequila went through the squad, Dave, over a week and a bit ago. Only one player fits into a title-winning side, and that was Mickey Van de Ven. All the rest of them, Romero into a top Champions League side. The rest of them are lower European. Our squad is woeful. It's the worst squad I think I can remember in a long time. It really is. So big up to you. He's living in Wisconsin. Big up to you, sir. Good morning or good afternoon. Well, thank you for joining in. Hit that subscribe button, guys. If you're new, do hit the subscribe. We want at least to get up to 2,360 before Christmas Eve. Come on, let's get there. Big up to Johnny Tottenham. Oi, oi, legends. Big up to you. Who else has come in? Big up to Corey. Just jumped in. Big up to Hotspur TV. All right. Since I was told I shouldn't do it, because I'm such a rebel, I would do it even more. Ange was a clown. I never said you couldn't do it, Tequila. Ange was a clown, and Frank doesn't stop talking about bad fans. Ends up 17th. I would call him a clown. Fair play. Fair play. Fair play. I think that's fair. And I think everyone should be entitled to their opinion. And you know what, Tequila, I give you, do you know what? I give him admiration. He stuck by his word all through last season. But Dave, there was one game he came in, I think we lost to Liverpool. And never once did he say, I told you so. He stuck to his opinion, but he was respectful with mine. And that's one thing with me and Tequila. We may have different opinions. We've never shouted at each other, and we've never gone through. We've always kept it respectful. And and that's what football's about, isn't it? You respect your person's opinion, but you can agree to disagree, but you have to respect their opinions. And that's the main thing, isn't it? To be fair. Yeah. It really is. And he says, big up Davo, Dermo and Dave. Though, hope you are well. Though, yeah, we're fine. Yeah. Also, big up to David Shear. Big up, David. G'day, Dermo and Davey. Merry Christmas, everyone. Big up to you, David. Hope you are doing well. There, Mashing Joe says, football these days is rubbish quality problems caused by overcoaching. Mm-hmm. It's eliminated the natural availability we had in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. That's so true. That is so true. Big up to Sally 1882. Big up to you, Solly. Afternoon, gents. Big up to you, Solly. Hope you're doing well. What else we've got? David here, a member for 21 months. Well, big up to you, David. Such loyalty and dedication. Absolutely. Thank you. It means so much to me, Tequila and James as well, and everyone that's works on the channel and helps on the channel. So thank you so much. Really appreciate your dedication, David. I hope you have a lovely Christmas, you and your family as well. big up to Elspur. Good morning, COYS. Listening. No, good morning, COYS. Interested to look at Mali in the AFCON in a bit. I hope the weather is nice in Las Vegas. Let us know, Elspur, what's it like in Vegas on the 22nd of December? Me and Dave should
I
be
was having a
doing
look
this
for some of them AFCON games. I can't find them on the telly over here, which is a shame.
I think they're on Channel 4, Dave. You've got Channel 4 to be on there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do.
I think they are. I'll double check and let you know. Big up to Ian Ferguson. Big up to you, Ian. Hope you're doing well, bud. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to everyone. Big up to Colin. If Ryan wants to be technical about it, United won you the Europa League because we scored an own goal. You know what? I've given up giving Brendan Johnson that goal. It was a Luke Shaw own goal. He can have it. I don't care. We won the trophy. Big up. We got Aurelia Far 8. Captain Misery out. Angie's a winner. Done this many a time, mate. 22 to fix it. Yeah, I know, bud. I know. Damn, Tequila is a big road. Big up to Solisa Scrub. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Let everyone please respect everyone's opinion. It's all I ever ask for. I know, mate. I'm just so edgy. I know that. Right. Let's go into there. Oh God, there's so many people in. For AFCON, I had to find Captain Jack Sparrow, wherever that means. Right. Big up to David saying Wayne, and this one because I want to talk about Paratici as well, Dave, and the latest I've got on Paratici, which is that one's really scrambling my brain a little bit. Big up to Randolph Mayers M7. He says, "You're all intelligent guys. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. I'm not sure if I'm too intelligent, but thank you very much. Well, we'll take the compliment. I'm certain you understand the RACI concept. Okay. Wherever that is back when it's at home. Players are responsible for their performances. The manager is accountable. Club officials and consultants, fans are informed."
I think basically what he's saying is like, it's that sort of,
yeah.
If I'm correct, I could be wrong. Like I said, not the most intelligent, but that sort of pie chart. Everybody takes a bit of responsibility, a part of the blame.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Vegas is cold now with bright sunlight. It's a desert. Ooh, there you go. Right. Right. Oh yeah, big up Irish Dave. You speak well. Always keep it up, sir. Yeah,
appreciate
absolutely.
That.
Yeah, what's happening with the Paratici thing? Well, this is the latest we've got, Dave. Where is it now?
He's on his way. He's on his way.
Here nothing official yet. Yeah, a bit like Santa. I'm on my way. Nothing official yet, but this is from the people we use. But he's expect. I don't know, why did that go off? This new thing on StreamYard, Dave, is fucking. This new thing. Have you found it? You gotta somehow turn the timer off before it goes in. Anyway, yeah, Dave, so unprofessional on this channel. I know. Not like you're a professional outfit over there.
No, I'm worse than you with technology.
I expect him to leave Spurs. Paratici has already travelled to Italy and is preparing to terminate Spurs deal. Some final formal steps still to be completed. Dave, look, I can't get my head around this. I really cannot get my head around this. What do you think's gone wrong? Why is he leaving? Because he's got a job in January to do, and I just don't get it.
The thing is, I think the Lewis family want to sort of go in their own direction. You got to remember, Paratici was brought in here under Daniel Levy. Then there was the whole ban.
Yeah.
He was brought back with Daniel Levy. Now Daniel Levy's gone. Maybe he's not been given the influence or that maybe he was once given by Daniel Levy. You've got to remember when we brought this guy in, Daniel Levy was in awe of this guy for the 10 years previous and all this apparently. And, how he, he really liked Paratici, got on famously well with Paratici. And, basically Levy gave him the whole club, basically said, look, do an internal review, start fixing things, start putting things in place and stuff like that. And I think now that he's gone, the Lewis family would probably want to maybe bring in their own guy, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I'm very disappointed that he's going because I think he had a big January in front of him, Dave, and I think he was the one man to rarely save us. I think, to be fair, with the right players. I just think again it shows how disorganized we are at Tottenham. We're such a mess from the
I'm
very
not
top.
sure it's disorganized. Like we say that, Dermo, but like, they made a lot of changes in the summer. They brought in Vinay, they brought in Sharrington, they've mixed it up at board level. They brought in a new manager, they brought in some players, they brought in a coaching team. Like they have tried to make a hell of a lot of changes to this football club to get it in their image and in terms of what they want to do moving forward. And I think this is just another one on that list.
Yeah, I don't trust Lang doing it though, Dave. Like they're backing the wrong man. If they're going to back Lang to bring us in the right football players, I'm sorry, they're backing the wrong fella here. And to be fair, we stood by Paratici through that ban. We kept him on as a consultant. We stood by him. Where's the loyalty? And again, there's no loyalty in football. He couldn't give a shit. Signed a new 3-year deal in there back in October. Don't worry, guys. I will sort your problems out. Then a bigger club comes. Fiorentina are bottom of Serie A. What's he going to achieve with them? Fuck all. And he's at probably one of the biggest clubs in England, and a chance to get us on the right track, get the right players in. He's the man to do it. He'd done it before. He could do it again, and he just walks out the door. I'm just so frustrated with it all. Frustrated with the ownership. Frustrated with everything. Lang is the guy, Dave, and I think everyone. I agree with Tequila. Burn it down and start again. I just burn it down and just say, right, start from scratch. Because if we go out the FA Cup against Villa, that's our season done. We've got nothing to play for. We've got nothing to fight for. And I just think we were here again. We just never get out of this feckin' mess, do we? It's the same thing every year. We get so far, we do so good, and then we just come to a halt. That's enough. We had it under the Champions League final, didn't we? We had a chance to build on that, and we didn't. Enoch come out the summer. We're going to build on this. We've won the Europa League. We're going to build in it. We haven't built in it. You're just dismantling it.
Well, I think they make the wrong decisions, though, the next season, though, Dermot.
Yeah.
After Champions League final, the next following season, the minute things got tough for Pochettino, they sacked him, even though he spoke of a painful rebuild. Rather than back the guy, they sacked the guy. And at the end of the day, if anyone's ever earned that time and backing, it was Pochettino. Then you look at it after Europa League. Yeah, fair enough. I think it was the right decision to sort of get rid of Ange and bring in a new guy. But Thomas Frank was never the answer. And, they got it wrong again. And, they just keep getting it wrong. They just keep getting it wrong.
Every year it's the same thing, isn't it, Dave? Every year. And I get why Tequila says this. I get why people say this. Like, I've never felt as ashamed as my team I did last year. I get that. I absolutely get that. I understand that. I mean, I feel I've said to you on your channel, Dave, when I had my rant, that I've never felt this disconnected with my football club as I've done in 40 odd years. I do these watch longs. These are the only things that keep me watching Tottenham. Well, if I didn't do my channel.
Is there any wonder, though, Dermo, when the board are constantly telling you to lower your expectations of what to expect from this football club? Is there any wonder, when the managers, and this is the last two managers have come out and blamed you for what's going on? Some of them question the loyalty of fans and stuff like that. Is there any wonder when players are coming out telling you you're the problem? I mean? Of course, everyone's starting to feel disconnected and disenchanted because there's no togetherness. It just seems like things go wrong inside the club, yet the fans are the only one that has zero decision of what goes inside the club, right across the board, from boardroom level all the way down to the dressing room, yet we're the ones being blamed for it. And then people wonder why fans feel disenchanted or, don't feel that connection. It's like, well, hang on. We're the only ones that actually uphold standards around here. Yeah. If we didn't boo some of the players we booed over the last few years, imagine how worse it would have got. You know what I
No,
mean?
I
We're
mean,
constantly being told we're
yeah.
the problem, yet we're the ones that turn up game in, game out, every single game, whether that's people that go to the stadium or people that, due to geographical locations can't. So they're sitting at home watching the games and stuff like that. But regardless, they're giving up everything to be able to sit there and watch the game, regardless of what shite they put out the week before. We fucking turn up, yet we're being told we're the problem week in, week out, and I'm fed up with it.
I'm fed up with it. I mean, you and me, right, and Tequila and people to the channels, we turn in, week out, doing games, build up, whatever. We put a lot of effort into this football club, even from our sort of what we do. And we're quite lucky to do this. We are quite lucky to we've been able to go onto a platform and talk how we feel about our club, be right about it, be wrong about it, whatever. But we show dedication that we keep the name going. We keep the name alive, sort of thing. And every year it's the same shite. Every year it's the same mess. I mean, we start so well in pre-season, we have a good start to the season, and then we go downwards because we're shite. I mean, I feel sorry for Tequila and people like that because, you know, I get it. We've been shite since Poch left. When are we ever going to get it back again? And I look, I'm the biggest one that doesn't want Pochettino back, but I'm coming to the realization, Dave, the only one I think that can actually bring us back together and bring us a team that we were proud of. And Tequila said it to me the other night when we had Poch in charge. He was proud of the team. He was proud of what we were. And I think if you look back in it, Dave, he was right. Under Pochettino, we had that unity. Since the day he left, we didn't. And the only reason he was sacked because Daniel Levy saw Mourinho and thought, do you know what? I want a big now win manager. It didn't work. We brought in Conte. It didn't work. We brought in Nuno after spending 75 days looking for a manager. It didn't work. 25 years of this bullshit has to stop. And the only way it's going to stop is Enoch going out the door. And I don't want to listen to any more of their bullshit. I don't want to listen to any more of their lies. I don't want to listen to any more of their false promises. It has to stop and stop now. They have to go and go now.
Well, I think when you say it's been all crap since Pochettino, I disagree. Jose Mourinho came in, he done well. He got us to a cup final, was sacked before it, and sacked when this team was in seventh. The minute them team reaches a bit of a difficulty under them managers, you get them to the summer, you back them. We chose not to. That's where the wrong decision was made. Same with Antonio Conte. Walked in off the back of Nuno's absolute fucking dross. Sacked him in November, brought in a manager like Conte, went on to get Champions League football. And then the following season, when we sacked him, or he sacked himself, we were still sitting in fourth. And again, rather than get it to the summer and back the guy, we chose to sack him and go again. And now we're sitting here on a guy like Thomas Frank going, we should back him. And that's just, and I just think, when you look at Thomas Frank and Pochettino, which I think is a fair comparison, right? When we brought Pochettino in, it was him that turned Southampton into the team they were in the Premier League and stuff like that. But when he came to Tottenham, he wasn't given a lot of money. He got the most out of what he had around him. With some little bits of signings like your Ben Davies for a couple of million, Michel Vorm, for a couple of million and stuff like that. But he got the most out of what he had around him. He walked in here at a time when we had a massive bloated squad, players on big wages. And, halfway through the season, he says, guys, you don't want to do the running in training. You don't want to do what I'm asking to do on the football pitch. No problem. Turn to the academy, brought them up, results changed, got them to the end of the season. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I don't see Thomas Frank doing that. I just do not see Thomas Frank, utilising the squad or utilising the academy or bringing players back in off that have been traditionally farmed out on loan. That's another thing Pochettino done with the likes of, Walker and Rose and players like that as well. And for me, I don't see Thomas Frank doing something like that here. And that's where I just think we are backing the wrong guy. When Pochettino was here, he got the best out of what he had, and he didn't need massive amounts of backing. Now, you would argue, backed with a bit more money and a bit more quality, we could have went on to have potentially the greatest time of our lifetime as Spurs fans. Don't disagree with that. But initially, to earn that backing, you have to get the best out of what you've got. He didn't look for excuses, Pochettino. He didn't look for excuses. He found solutions. No.
He did find solutions. You're right. And I think every other manager has looked for excuses. Everyone, Ange did, Andrew was using the injuries as an excuse for us playing bad. Thomas Frank is blaming the fans because of this bad failure, which I think he just cooked his goose. When he blamed the fans, Dave, I think that turned a lot of people off. And also, when I heard them say, "Oh, we're going to play really 10 good games this season," and the rest are going to be mediocre already bad, I'm thinking that turned me off straight away. I just switched off. I went, I'm not listening to you anymore because you're just talking bollocks. Look, I don't think I think Pochettino was the only manager that could actually get the best out of us. He didn't look for excuses. He used the youth and he brought a group of players together that they were united on. They would have run through a brick wall for him.
He got them to buy in.
Yeah, he got them to buy in. No other manager has been able to do that. And also, Dave, under Pochettino, it was the board that failed him. Levy failed him. Nobody else. And when he was going through a rough patch and all the fans were calling for Pochettino to get sacked, I think he earned enough credit in the bank to see him through that, that bad times. And I think it was tougher for Levy to back the manager than it was just to sack him because he got a bit of a hard on because he saw Mourinho standing in the corner. Do you know what I mean? He thought all these Christmases come at once. I think if he stuck with Pochettino, I think he would have got us over the line. And as much as I am critical of Pochettino and his time at Spurs, I think I'm very quickly coming to the realization that maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong about Poch. We did have the time of our lives, but I just wanted us to win. It's all I want us to do. We're winners. Become winners. Win trophies. It's all I want. It's not much to ask, Dave. It's not much to ask. We got a load of there. Big up to Tequila. Exactly. Even if you have to fight the whole world, as long as it is, to quote who Domos calls me, back the courage of my convictions. Yeah. Tequila's like the Simon Jordan of this channel. He does back the courage of his convictions, rightly or wrongly, he does. And I think you have to tip your hat off and say, you know what, fair play to you. Fair play to you for having that courage to do it. He is the Simon Jordan of this channel, and he did used to own a football club.
Also,
though a lot of people didn't think Tequila did, but he did own Crystal Palace.
I want to take Ryan's comment here where he says, Dave, give Frank time. You always say give a manager time. Now you're changing your mind. Come on, bro. Look, I'm not listening to that from you, Ryan. You know, when you placed you wanted Ange gone and you've been calling for managers to be sacked. And before Ange Postecoglou walked in here, you were also calling for this club to win trophies. We go and win a trophy, and now all of a sudden, trophy isn't acceptable. You flip to league position is what matters most to you and stuff like that. And now you've also flipped to give Thomas Frank time. With me, I get what you're saying, right on. I have said it. But managers that I believe in, and this is what comes down to. You believe in Frank, I don't. And at the end of the day, time will tell, who was right or wrong and what have you not. But I also, I'm not going to sit here and back the wrong guy just because I believe a manager deserves time and backing. Yes, a manager deserves time and backing, but a manager that has a CV behind him that proves he can do it at this level. Not a guy that we've given a chance to and it's backfired and it's failed so far. I'm not, you back the wrong guy and you back him with that 400 or 500 million in time that everybody wants. If we don't ever become out of a mid-table team with all that backing, you were left in a financial mess, a mess with your squad, and then a managerial mess, and you were in bigger trouble and stuff like that. So for me, backing the wrong guy, I think is the wrong thing to do. I actually think what needs to happen right now is I actually think the club need to decide what style of football they want to be played at Tottenham. The Lewis family need to sit there and go, this is the way we want to play. The fans look for entertaining attacking football. Then set up your scouting model accordingly, which means then you're not chopping and changing your entire squad every time a manager walks in here. Because at the minute, we let the manager dictate our style of football and stuff like that. And what actually should be happening, and this is the way we play, you bring in your manager accordingly. And I think once everyone's on the same hymn sheet, then you start moving in the right direction. But when you got fans that want to be entertained, football played a certain way and has expectations, and you got a manager that wants to do everything else the opposite, it's never going to work. It's just not a match. Pragmatic managers at this football club, we've seen with Jose and Conte, who are in much higher positions, by the way. The minute results start to turn under a pragmatic manager, they are bounced out the door very quickly, and the fans have a very short leash for them. And that's because we've seen with Harry Redknapp, Pochettino, Birkinshaw, Bill Nick, managers like that, before my time and stuff, that you can win playing a certain way. And that's what Tottenham fans have found out, and that's the way they want their football played.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I just don't think Frank is the right guy to be backing. I'm not getting into a position where anybody but Frank, and I'm going to dig in behind the next guy, because I think that's what people done with Ange Postecoglou. Get him out my football club, almost anyone would do, and now people are digging their heels in, even if it's not going right, even if there's no green shoots. There's no stat out there that is trending in a positive direction to say that things are going to change under this guy. And for me, I just think calm heads need to be prevailed. We tried changing manager, it didn't work. Now we actually need to look internally, find a style of football, and bring in the right manager accordingly. But we can't just sit here and back the wrong guy because people hate the guy so much beforehand. It's the wrong thing to do.
You're right, because we can keep doing it. Look, I go back to the year Birkinshaw, first year in the job, he took us down, he got us relegated, right? I'll just ask a question to Rhino, right? Rhino, if you were alive then, right, and Birkinshaw got us relegated, right, would you give him the time? Knowing what we do now, he did turn it around. It got us up the following year by the skins of our teeth, but we did it. Went on to win 2 FA Cups and a UEFA Cup. Then, in your sort of how you're saying it is that's not winning trophies is not good enough. It's all about how we play. Then, you're right, Dave. The club do have a style of play, Dave. It's push and run. Whichever levels you of football in any decade, it's still push and run. We had it under Pochettino, a version of push and run. We had it under Keith Birkinshaw, a version of his. We had it under Bill Nick, a version of his. Arthur Rowe was the father of push and run, and it's evolved every decade, every year. From 1951, Dave, to 2008, Tottenham won a trophy every decade. One or more than one trophies every decade. From 51 to 2008, we won a trophy. No other team has done that. No other team has gone from every decade to win a trophy. I think Tottenham was one of the few teams to do it. Then we've gone through the lull years under Enoch and Levy because he didn't buy the players. He didn't push the belt out. We spent money and crap. Instead of going to buy a Lee from Bayern Munich, we're going to buy a Joe Rodon from Sunderland. Instead of buying a decent player from midfielder, we go and buy a shit £5 million player. We got lucky with Dele Alli. We paid $5 million for him. We did get lucky for him because we had the right manager in place to do it. And once you find a manager that fits the club's DNA is push and run. That is it. You got to buy players for that, and the manager come in. It's got to fit your system. It's got to fit your style. As Sava said last week, it's got to fit your system. You can't keep bringing in manager after manager, a win now manager, a manager that's going to build things. We keep changing our identity more times than I change clothes. We don't have an identity because the club is so lost in what they are and who they are. We don't know what we are, and it's got to stop. And I just fed up, Dave. Fed up to the back teeth of it. I'm fed up. I'm fed up with the owners. I'm fed up with the way we're playing. I'm fed up with the players accusing the fans or the manager having to go at the fans. For fuck's sake, like, we're the ones that we pay your wages. We pay money to the club that goes towards your wages. You know, as a football club, and Tequila hit it on the nail the other show we did the other night. Tottenham has a body. Brilliant stadium. Brilliant training ground. Brilliant facilities, but we've got no soul. That club doesn't know. It's got no soul. The spirit of Bill Nick, as I always said to you, Dave, I always used to feel the spirit of Bill Nick going into that stadium. Don't feel it because it's not there. And then they're talking about, we're going to announce the first statue we're going to put up. Well, it better be fucking Bill Nick you're putting up, not fucking one of probably Johnny Joe blogs of 2000 that was such a great player. If any other trophy goes up bar Bill Nick, I'm going over to Tottenham and knocking it down. I'll bring you with me as well, Dave. You can be my lookout guy. But you know what? This club is so frustrating. But as always optimists we are, Dave, we're back here on the 28th, following this mighty club as we play Crystal Palace. What's your score prediction for the Palace game, bud? And then where can people find you?
We're away from home, right?
Yeah. Thank God.
Yeah, look, it's not going to be an easy game. We're away from home. They are, and we've gone there with Kane and Son in years gone by and found it sort of difficult, which is sort of what concerns me a little bit. Palace, although I would argue, I think their maybe early season form is starting to maybe falter a little bit. Maybe they're not as strong as they, have been. And look, they're there for the taking. I think we've got a better squad than Crystal Palace. I'd argue I do think they've got a better manager, but I think we've got a better squad. So it'll be an interesting one. But pressure can do, mad things, and so it'll be interesting to see how sort of we come out, because if you lose that game, because like even off the back of the Liverpool game, I was actually surprised by this. I didn't think, you could really attribute much that went on underneath that Liverpool game, sort of to Thomas Frank, in that game. But, when you went and look at socials after, a lot of people were sort of still going after Frank, or even if they weren't, they're like, but we're still just losing games. It's 1-8. It's not good enough. So I think it's a huge game for the squad and Thomas Frank. It'd be interesting to see whether the players stay off the booze and the food over the next few days and fight for this manager, or whether they don't. But I'm always an eternal optimist ahead of the games, Dermot, and I hope we can win it. Maybe 2-1.
I do you know what? I'm going for a 3-1 win. I think we're going to bounce out of there. I think we're going to go up there and win 3-1. I think the bigger game for me is Brentford at home, and I think the Crystal Palace. I think the Villa game's going to be vital. If we lose against Villa, then I think his job's on the line. I want to say to Tequila, and this is from all of us as well, Merry Christmas and happy holidays from everyone on the channel. Yeah, from myself, from Tequila, from James, from Dave, who does this podcast with me. Want to wish you all Merry Christmas. There is a couple of shows coming out, one on Christmas Day, I think at 4:00, and then one on St. Stephen's Day, when I'm going to go over the transfer list and the information I was given, and get you guys into transfer mood early. But guys, thank you so much. You can find me very quickly on Double Dum Gaming tomorrow night at 8:00. Me, Tequila, and Alan from the Play Pouch are joining me to go over the gaming year. We're going to talk all things gaming, so that'd be great. Dave, where can people find you, bud?
Yeah, you can find me over at the Irish Hotspur. Be doing a fan show later on from 7. And then we'll do a panel show tomorrow, and then we'll call it that for the Xmas for 3 or so days, and then get back for the Palace game. But you can find me over at the Irish Hotspur if anyone's interested in hearing further, what I have to say, and Jack's over there as well. So check it out. But look, I've really enjoyed doing these streams with you, as much as we can once a week, Dermo. So I want to say a massive, happy Christmas to all the followers of your channel, everybody out there. I even see Kuva sneaking in there. Happy Christmas to all of you guys, to you and your family. And at the end of the day, amongst all the superficial shit and the expense of it, if you put it down to the root, the sort of bare bones, it's just about sitting around the dinner table with family and friends. So go and enjoy yourself. Merry Christmas.
It is. Yeah, big up to you, Dave, and thanks to you for doing this with me. We will be back after the New Year. We may even sneak in a New Year special. Never know. You might see us for a New Year. If not, we will be back after the New Year. We will come back to Thomas Frank out of a job. Who knows? But yeah, do join Dave tonight at 7. I may make an appearance on that day. Pop on and cause havoc, throw in a hand grenade or two, and then just bugger off. And as everything's going kaboom. If
you're going to throw the hand grenade, stick around for the fallout.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm going to do a little bit, throw a hand grenade in, and just walk out the door as the building behind me just explodes. And you go with my Tottenham, go, ha ha. Right. Big up to everyone. Just one more thing. Where was it? Big up to Colin. Merry Christmas, you. But Palace will be on revenge tour after their performance against Leeds. That's it. And there was one comment from both of us. Oh, here you go. From Paul Shepherd. I think you two, Dermot and Dave, are great. You're genuinely passionate and well-informed Spurs fans.
Thank you.
Dermot mentions Bill Nick more than any on the channel. My first visit to the lane was in 1966. Well, Paul, thank you so much for the kind words. Yeah, Dave knows I love my Tottenham history. I love looking back at it and try to connect it from
You believe in the
yesteryear to
history
today.
books.
I do. But you're very kind. Thank you so much. Look, for me personally, I can't do it without the team that's around me, without James and Gila, and without the people I use for the information I get. Though Dave doesn't think the news I always get is right all the time, but I still use them and I still put it out there.
Still
It's
waiting for
for
the
the benefit
takeover
of
to
you
happen.
guys. It did. There was a bid put in and it got rejected. I reported that and I got that spot on. And I never will. I'll always back my sources, Dave. I'll always back them 100%. Always, and I have and always will back them 100%. Yeah. So look, thank you so much, Dave. Do you want to think to Paul? Very kind words, and thank you so much.
Yeah, look, very calm words. At the end of the day, everyone that comes on to speak about Tottenham, where it's good or bad, it's all passion at the end of the day. Everyone loves this club. And hopefully, people inside that club can start recognizing that soon and start treating us with a bit of respect.
Yeah. And I will get Dave talking a bit more about Bill Nick. I will educate him in the ways of the Spurs. I feel like
I'm educated. Don't get me wrong. I'm educated. My dad. But when I wanted to support Spurs, or my dad forced me into it. He gave me history books on Tottenham when I was younger, and I had a whole book dedicated to the history of Arsenal and Tottenham and stuff. My old lad, I'm well versed in Tottenham's history. Yeah, even though I wasn't alive, I'm well versed there, Mo.
I know, I'm only joking, bud. I'm only joking. I feel like Obi-Wan, like you're Luke Skywalker and I'm Obi-Wan, passing on the ways of the Force. But on that bombshell, listen, thank you very much. I think this might be the last live stream before Christmas. And the top of my head, I think it is. Yes, this is the last live stream before Christmas. The rest you will see will be pre-recorded, so we're going to get them done today and get them out early. But do join me on Dumb and Dumb Gaming tomorrow night. Me, Tequila, and Alan from Tequila and Alan both from the Play Pouch, me from Dumb Dumb Gaming, talking all things gaming. So do join us then. But guys, have a wonderful Christmas. We'll see you on the flip side. And thank you so much. Like, subscribe on both channels. And yeah, hope Santa is nice to you. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Merry Christmas.
A brighter future ahead, please. For the love of God, just give us something bright to look forward to.